All right, former SC wide receiver Michael Jackson is headed. Michael Jackson III is headed to Athens to play for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. That was announced today, and listen, you've got to replace some productivity in Georgia's passing game. And here's another addition that will help you, who's not homegrown. But this is Michael Jackson's fourth season of college football, and he'll spend it in Athens. His production was down a little bit this past year, so I don't know what was going on at SC this year. It was not an unbelievable situation, that's for sure. Going as poor as they were this year, but. Here's a story over on Dawg Post. If I can get it on the screen, there it is. Some breaking news, obviously. And he talked to us, and he said, "I liked everything about the visit." Talking about when we talked to him in December, said, "I liked everything about the visit. The coach expressed how much they want me there, and how they see me, and talking about how he's going to be as a player. I was impressed by their professionalism of everybody and how they go about their development of players. I think it's what makes Georgia special. You get to play on the biggest stage." And you get some of the best development in the country. There's no question about that. He ended his time at SC going for 46 receptions, 498 yards in 3 seasons, 5 touchdowns. So not 1,000-yard receiver in a year. I don't know that you get a lot of those anymore. But another addition to Georgia as we get. Well, listen, I'm telling you right now, they're going to be kicking off in Atlanta against Clemson before you know it, and this is just another guy that can play multiple positions at receiver, slot, Z, X, all of it. So I think that Georgia's honesty in this process has helped them get guys like Ra Thomas, like Dominic Lovett last year at receiver. And you're coming in. I've got to do my board today probably, but you're coming into the 24 season with a lot of experience at wide receiver. I mean, Dylan Bell is probably the guy I would watch the most in terms of who's going to be the most trouble for everybody. I would pay attention to him, but you're losing Marcus Roseby, Jack Saint. You're losing Lad McConkey. That's a lot of firepower just right there. Just right there, that's a lot. I was watching the Florida game earlier today. I mean, Lad McConkey made Florida look stupid. So we might see the emergence of Dylan Bell as time goes on here. We're just going to see. But, Georgia needs to add some experience at receiver, and they've got some. They're not going to replace what Ladd was or what, Bright Bowers was, but, they're adding guys who've played college football before. This is our River's Edge table bar that Eco Poly's spotlight. We're going to spotlight for Eco Poly today. I mean, listen, I use this table. It's exactly like this. Actually, I think it might be all red. But we're just showing you the Georgia look. There's a lot of other looks if you want to specialize this for your cabin, your beach. There's a lot of different setups that you can have insofar as how it looks. So, but we're going to show y'all red and black because that's the bulk of this audience. This is made out of completely recycled plastics, 20-year warranty, heart of Georgia, manufactured in Georgia. It's hard to beat it, man. And you got a 20-year warranty, man. That's a long time. So I think with the addition of Jackson, what will that look like for Georgia in the future? Who are they adding? What's coming back? You're going to get a lot of returning players who've had time in college football. Now, they didn't start at Georgia. They didn't begin their careers at Georgia. But, I mean, does that matter anymore? Like, doesn't it seem to matter anymore? I mean, Michael Penix is going to play for the national championship on Monday night. He played at Indiana. Okay, so it's just, what do they look like when they go out there and they play for, your team? It looks like Quinshawn Jenkins is leaving Ole Miss. That's, he's a really good football player for the Rebels. And now he's gone. So, you can keep up with the Joneses or you can complain about them. But I think for Georgia, they're not just trying to keep up; they're trying to beat them. Kirby, I think his philosophy in all of this has been, let's go get guys that we need, but that's not that's not going to be the program. That's not going to be the entire program, and it shouldn't be, because then you're just talking about sort of renegades the whole time. You don't want that. You want legitimate guys who have, you know, done the work for Georgia. And I think in this case, we're going to see where Jackson fits in, but there's a lot of competition. The three guys I mentioned already, Bell, Rara, and Dominique, those guys are all three really good players for Georgia right now. And, if you're coming in and you don't, there's not going to be, the only guy I would see as maybe being the standout guy is Bell. But that's really not been the way that Georgia's getting people. Even Lad McConkey, as good as he was in 22, it wasn't just him. There were a fair amount of people that they could slice you up however they wanted. That's the challenge and the problem of dealing with Georgia. But you're losing your number one pass receiver from this past year. You're only returning 2 of your top 6, I think it is. 2 of your top 5, excuse me, and 3 of your top 6. So, not great. 4 of your top 7. You're losing Bowers, Marcus, as well as Ladd, but you're returning Lovett, Thomas, Bell, and Delp. Oscar Delp had 24 receptions. That's certainly not nothing. Arian Smith, I think, you would hope that you would see more from him. We'll see. But, let's see what happens with Anthony Evans as well. I think he's not dissimilar from Arian Smith in terms of his ability to explode. But, I think it would be good to have some production coming in that you don't have right now, that you can't address right now on your roster. Tuggle could come. Tuggle, Carr. You've got some guys coming in too that could give you a shot to from freshmen, but usually that's not something that happens. So I think if you're Carson, you say, hey, listen, I got one more guy here. He's a versatile guy, and it all adds up. It all adds up. I don't think you should be penciling Jackson going to the Heisman Trophy ceremony by any stretch, but I think that this program more and more and more is addressing problems that it has, not just through recruiting but through transfer as well. I think what you're seeing, like at Ole Miss, a lot of their problems they're trying to address with transfer. That can be challenging from a team perspective, I would argue. But this, we'll see. I don't think that, you certainly could be wrong, but at a school like SC where you're throwing the ball 40 times a game, or at least it's not abnormal, a guy that's only got 500 yards in 3 years, you'd wonder why he only has 500 in 3 years. But I think, last year was a much better year for Jackson than this past year. But this past year at SC was bad. There were a lot of problems. Caleb Williams wasn't even playing after a while. So I wouldn't say it's toxic there, but they're underperforming for sure. And you're watching guys, leave. It might not be because of the underperformance, but it might feel like, and this is kind of amazing to say, that Georgia's a better option for receiver play than USC. Talking about a guy in Lincoln Riley who's for such a long time really been predicated on the on the pass, and receivers leaving there to play in a better, what is a better situation for them. Again, here's what Jackson said. He says, Coach Bobo was saying how much he loves my route running, speed, versatility, and my ability to help in the return game. Georgia sees me as playing all receiver spots, but mostly the Z. I can play X, and I can play in the slot as well. He said, I enjoy talking to Kirby at his house. I like his transparency and established winning culture there. You can tell he really cares for his players and their development. It's definitely a place I can see myself at. Well, that turned out to be true. Michael Jackson coming from SC to Georgia today. This news just breaking this afternoon. So we'll see what this means for the Dogs. Hey, listen, make sure you're signing up for our newsletter. The link is right down below. And you don't want to miss stuff like this. I mean, I'm recording this later in the day. This news is already out for a couple hours before you see it. If you were on the newsletter, you'd already know it. Thanks for watching.